Hi folks, here we go again with another Photoshop tutorial. This time we are going to focus on the magnetic lasso tool. The magnetic lasso tool can be found the second one down on the left on the tool palette. And as we have been saying, when you see these little black arrows, you know that there are other tools beneath. And if I click and hold, I can see the magnetic lasso tool at the bottom. So I'll click on there, and now we have it selected. I'm going to go up to the File menu. I'll go to File, Open, to open a new image. I'm going to double click on the desktop. On the desktop we have the Tendering Computer Club folder. I'll double click on that, and I do believe it is in the selections folder, the image that I'm looking for, so I'll double click on selections, and we have this sunset image. So I'll double click on the image to open it. I will maximize the image. I'm going to go to the background and unlock it. Get rid of this little lock icon by double clicking on the background and clicking OK. I'm going to right click on this layer to duplicate it. Left click on duplicate layer and click OK. Now we have two duplicate layers. Turn off the visibility of that one, and as I've said before, this acts as a sort of insurance policy. The magnetic lasso tool, as the name suggests, works on attraction, and it is attracted to areas in an image that have high contrast. And as you can see, the areas around this landscape, the areas between the landscape and the sky, have pretty good high contrast. So if I click to the left here and just drag the cursor, I'm not clicking, I'm just pulling the cursor along around these areas of high contrast. I'm not clicking anywhere. If you do get to an area where it's difficult for the tool to sort of grab on to an area of high contrast, you can click, left click like that, to confirm that that is where you want the tool to be attracted to. Although this image has fairly good high contrast, there are sometimes areas where the tool is not quite sure where to go. So you can just left click to give confirmation that that is where you want the tool to be attracted to. But all I'm doing is just pulling the cursor along. I'm not clicking on the mouse at all, I'm just pulling the cursor along and letting the tool decide where it wants to make those, I call them sort of confirmation marks. As you can see, every so often it will put down a mark, and it's just marking where it thinks the difference is between the areas of high contrast, and so far it's done a pretty good job. When you get to the end of the image, you can sort of go out of the image a little and just click to confirm that's where you want to go, and just take the cursor again, just drag it up. I'm not clicking, just drag it up slowly so that we get, the idea is to get all of this sky in. And again, I'm dragging along here. It's missing the top bits. It's not going completely to the top of that sky, but that's okay, we can alter that later. we can add to that selection if you like later. So we'll go down, keep going down, and as I say, I'm only pulling the cursor, I'm not clicking. When we get to the end, you need to go over and get to the start point, and when you get to the start point you will see a little circle appear just there. There's a little circle, little tiny circle appears to confirm you've reached the start point again. Then you can click and it makes the selection. Now as you can see along the top, it's not quite gone completely to the top, but what we can do is go back to the rectangular marquee tool, and on the options up here click on add to selection. Make sure you have got this on normal and not on fixed aspect ratio or fixed size, but normal. We have the rectangular selection tool selected. We have it on add to selection. So what we can do is to drag an area that we want added to this selection, and the part we want really is this top part. There's a slight area down the side there. I think this side is fine, so we'll add the top part to the selection by clicking and dragging along the top, and when you let go, so you can see it's added the area that you've just selected to the other selection. A slight piece here that's not been selected properly. I'll zoom into this so maybe you can see a bit better by clicking on the zoom tool, the magnifying glass. We'll drag this tool palette out of the way for a while so that we can see where we're trying to focus on. And as you can see, there's a slight part of the image missing from the selection. So I will zoom out again by holding down the Alt key, and you will see the magnifying glass where it's got a plus sign at the moment, it will change to a minus. And then when I click the left mouse button, we'll zoom out. One more time. I'll move the tool palette back out of the way. These marks here are just a rendering issue that you sometimes get with Photoshop. It's nothing to worry about. I'll just click to zoom in and click to zoom out, and as you can see they've gone. Just a small issue that sometimes you get with Photoshop. But anyway, we'll select the rectangular marquee tool again, and this time we've got it on add to selection. If I click and drag just around about this area, is the selection that was missing. As you can see, it's added to that selection now. Now we have this selection, and as I have said before, we don't really want to cut out part of an image in a cookie cutter fashion, which is a very sharp edge. What we want to do is to try and smooth the edge. It makes a much better transition from one image to the other. But in this case we have the sky selected, and what I'm going to do is to go up to the select menu and select modify, and I'm going to expand the selection slightly. It gives you the option to choose by how much. Expand selection, expand by 10 pixels. We'll try that because we can always undo it, so I'll go 10 pixels and you will see this selection grow larger. I click OK, and as you can see it's grown slightly larger. which I think that's probably round about fine for this image. I mean, we could edit, undo, expand. So it's now back the way it was. We go select, modify, expand, and maybe try 5 pixels. See what that's like. Click OK. That doesn't seem too bad either, and it's not cutting off much of this landscape, tops of the trees and what have you. But now we've expanded the image, this really what we want to do now is to smooth it, feather it in other words. So we go up to select, feather. We don't want to feather it 50 pixels because remember we only expanded it by 5. So if we select 5 again, click OK, what it has done is smoothed that image, that selection area by 5 pixels. It's not immediately obvious, but if we now delete that selection, so I'll hit the delete key, you can probably make out that there is a smooth edge, certainly smoother than it would have otherwise been. So now we have this sky cut out of the image. We can go up to the select menu to deselect the selection. Select, deselect. And what I'm going to do is to go to the file menu, file, open, and this is where we got the sunset image from, and we have a sky image here. I'm going to double click to open this. This is opened in Photoshop as a new image. You can see we have 2 windows open. This is the sky JPEG that we're on now, and this is our sunset JPEG. But we'll go back to the sky image. I'm going to select all, go up to edit, copy. Then we can go back to the window menu and go to the sunset JPEG. And now we can go to edit, paste. Now that has pasted the sky image onto a new layer. Up here you can see the sunset image underneath. That's the original one that we kept as the insurance policy. This is the one with the selection cut out, that layer, and this is our new image that we've just pasted in. Now obviously this sky image is taking up the whole area and we don't want that, so we can simply click on this layer and drag it till you get that bold line. We're going to drag it beneath the sunset image or sunset layer, and there you have, we now have the sunset layer on top. You can see that, but because it's transparent, this area, we can see the layer beneath, so we looking through to the sky, and because this is on top, this part of the image is on top, this part of the sunset image is what we see first. If I turn off that visibility, you will see the whole of the sky. But the idea really was to cut out the sky from the sunset image and replace it with a new sky. Now I'm not suggesting that this new sky is going to win any awards for artistic impression. It's just used as a demonstration as to how you can use the magnetic lasso tool, cut out part of an image, and then paste in another, either paste in another image to this one, or cut out part of the original image and paste it into another one. So that is a demonstration on how to use the magnetic lasso tool in Photoshop CS2. Next time we'll focus on the remainder of the selection tools. There are still a few. For instance, there is the ordinary lasso tool, the polygonal lasso tool, we have the magic wand, and there is a couple up here that we haven't looked at, although they're not very good in my view, but we'll go over them anyways. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial and have fun.